Hey everybody, it's Brian here from quantlabs.net. I got Ivan here, or what would I call you? The residential
Just
TWS Interactive Brokers expert. Okay, so the goal of this video is to do a walkthrough, a serious walkthrough. You've been working on this for 2 years, you said?
With TWS,
Yeah.
even more.
More than 2 years. So you know this really well.
Well, yeah, I use it daily, so.
So why don't you give us a walkthrough on what you do? Obviously, it's set up as a demo account.
Yeah.
First question is here at the top right where it says DU15202. Is that the account number that you
Yeah.
get? So that's what you're trying to...
Well, usually the account numbers are with a new, so I'm assuming this is yeah.
Okay, well, we'll take that as a...
whatever, different account.
Okay, here's the
No,
mouse.
it's demo, yeah.
Here's the mouse. So why don't you tell everybody what you trade? You mostly focus on futures.
Yeah,
and...
I trade ETFs and futures, and what I usually do is like I have I use those boxes here on the top to have different kind of groups of instruments.
Right.
So here, like where you have US stocks, for example, or you can create a new one actually just by clicking the plus. Put some name like put ETFs, let's say.
Very good.
Okay. And then once that opens, you can start actually adding new symbols and stuff like that, right? So you say that it's stocks, and yeah, and it gives you quotes and stuff like that. For the futures, it's a little bit different. So you can add futures, let's say the NG.
Before you continue, when you get those symbols that with the exchange on ARCA, when you put orders in, does it really matter, or you just use the default exchange or whatever it comes up as?
When you put an order, you can actually specify what kind of routing you want and
So
which exchange to get
so
executed.
if
It
you
has
find...
something called Smart,
Right.
so I don't touch it. I
Okay.
just use the whatever
Okay.
Interactive Brokers
Okay.
wants to. So now NG is the natural gas futures contract. When you hit the enter, you see a list with different matches. So you gotta go here and select futures, and now it will give you a different possible contracts. So for, let's say, select the August contract, although I think the most liquid is the July, so we can actually compare them, for
It's
example.
June 3rd today.
So if we add another natural gas, let's add the July. So now you don't have the volume column.
So I guess you have to add it.
Let's see. Yeah, so I was planning to look at the volume, but
Don't have to
apparently
worry
it's
about
not one of the default columns. But actually, yeah, when you have the two contracts, let's say for the same security, because sometimes you have to do rollovers for futures, you basically, it's useful to have the volume down here and to look at you know, to
There's a
see
column,
whether
yeah.
they're close and which one is bigger and stuff
Right.
like that. You can actually add that through global
So you're right now
configuration.
only focusing on futures
Futures and ETFs.
and ETFs.
Yeah.
So no, you're talking about forex, but you're only looking at currencies on
Well,
futures, right?
Yeah, right now I'm trading only futures on currencies, not the
Okay.
forex itself. But I started playing with the FX Trader too, which is
That's awesome, man.
that's awesome. I love it.
That's
I love
awesome.
It, honestly. So I kind of created it, put the layout the way I wanted.
Yeah, yeah,
and,
yeah.
things
It's
like
it's
that.
really it's as good as FX Trader from Moanda, I found. I mean,
Yeah?
probably better.
And it's actually, you can see, like, especially during the times with the high volume, you can see that the quotes are like, the spreads are really,
Right.
really tiny, like half of a pip and stuff like that. So now, let's say we have a contract and you want to put a price. Basically, when you hover over the bid or the ask, that's what I usually
Okay.
use to put an order. So let's say we want to put a buy order. So you press here and the order is created, but it's not transmitted. You gotta put transmit in order
Yeah,
to
yeah,
get
I
it
noticed that, yeah.
into the system. And then here, I mean, there are pretty much like, that's something really special about Interactive Brokers. They have two order types, sell and buy. They don't have enter long, exit long, and
Right,
stuff like
right,
that. So
right,
you gotta be really careful. Like if you sell too many or pi to many, you just completely reverse the position, which is easy actually, because if you have a system that it goes from short to long immediately, instead of entering two orders, what you do is, let's say you are long one future and you want to go short one, you just sell two and that's it.
Right. Okay. So you don't use the mosaic at all?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I know people who use options more use the mosaic, but I use basically the classic interface.
Okay.
And so for option types, yeah, you have a bunch of options. I don't know why the other are disabled, but
it's probably the demo mode. That's probably why. The demo mode?
No, it allows stop
okay.
limit. So yeah, so the order types that I use mostly are market limit, sometimes stop limit for entries, and for stop losses.
So all your trades right now are just manual. You're not doing any audit, but you eventually will want to do automated trades
to some degree.
Okay.
What I have right now is basically from my programs I can with a single button submit all the orders. So they'll show here actually after I submit them from my program, they'll show exactly like that. So basically they'll show under the line of the instrument that they're for, and they will not be transmitted. So I still go through them, hit transmit for each of them, and transmit them to the exchange.
Because with my system, like I've got the courses, I'll just get you into this point where I'll open the order and put the entry on. So then from that point on, what you do with the TWS is up to you. If you want to cancel it, you can override it within the TWS system.
Once you submit it.
Right. Yeah. So I can automatically send it out into the system. So
that kind of makes sense, because I mean, if you have too many orders, like if you have, like, let's say to input 10 orders per day or something like that, it takes time, and we make mistakes.
Well, not only that, but if you have a meltdown on hand, there are ways you can back out and cancel all the orders as well, or sell or close the orders.
Like with a single button and stuff like that.
Right.
I think actually even here you can do it somewhere, but
I know in Mosaic you can.
Yeah, they must have it here somewhere.
I don't know if you saw my video. I put out a video.
I went through it quickly. I didn't really.
Yes, I mean it was a half-hour video of me not
cancel
knowing
orders. There you
what
go.
I'm on. Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate it. Thanks. Enjoy.
I knew that I have seen it somewhere, but so here from the cancel, apparently you can cancel either the selected orders or orders on the page, or all orders in general. So that kind of helps, because like my tabs here, usually I have like for the futures, futures generally all providers divide them in groups. Like in the first group you have, let's say, grains, and you have like soybeans, oatmeal and stuff like that. So basically what I have here on this screen is, here I'll have tab for each one of those.
Okay.
I'll have one for grains, I'll have one for metals, energies and stuff like that. So there are a lot, kind of. Like I have, like, you can imagine 10 or even more here.
Now, how many futures do you watch, I guess, or?
I usually monitor about 30 to 40, like pretty much all the US futures.
That's a lot.
Well, the advantage is that, like, with the basic package of TWS, basically you can trade all the US futures market and get quotes for most of them.
I had a question last night from my webinar, and they asked if, let's say, India, China, can you get access to the ETFs in China? Could you get access to the ETFs out of Germany or?
Through TWS?
Through Interactive Brokers.
Through Interactive Brokers. I think you can get access to some stuff, like European stuff, like in England and stuff like that, for sure. But I don't know about the others. There are actually, if you go to their website, there is a list of products that they have, and that's where I usually go when I want to see whether they have or they don't have something.
Because one of the fascinating tips that you gave me was using Quantopium, the zip line.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell everybody your opinion on using that kind of tool? I think what was very valid, because there's a lot of people going to be using Zipline for backtesting, and they don't realize the limitations on it. But you told me about the ability to have to transfer them from tick to bar data.
Well, it's not a big limitation, but if you're concentrating on a lower frequencies like me, so I don't trade anything that is below. Usually, when I backtest, the fastest that I'll use is hourly data. So
Okay.
I don't go below that. So now, last time when I looked both at Contopian is Zipline,
Yeah,
and the
Zipline.
other one was
Quant Connect?
yeah. When I looked at both of these, what they do is their main feed for prices is actually minute data. So now that's okay, but the thing is that if you want to use daily data, the problem is that if you want to only input the daily data into your backtest or your system testing, they don't consider the open, high, the low, and the close.
Right.
The only thing that they look is one price from every bar. And because it's based on the minute data implementation, they'll use the close.
Right.
So now what happens is, let's say for example you're testing a strategy that you want to put a limit order to enter tomorrow if at any point we go below $80, right? The close for tomorrow is 81. So basically, if you just look at the closing prices,
Yeah.
what you will do by default with those frameworks, your order will not get executed. Well, I mean, if the low of the day is $75, I pretty much bet you that your order on any liquid instrument will get executed.
Right.
So now their solution for that, and it's a valid solution, but it has disadvantages, is to basically say, well, if you want to trade that way, so basically if you want your orders to be executed intraday, what you
Right.
do, you have two feeds running at the same time, 1 minute and a daily, or basically you just go to minute data, right?
Now, is that feed coming from Quant Connect, or is that going to be coming from another source?
Well, I only looked at Zipline. So
Right.
if you're using Zipline as a standalone library, you gotta provide your own CSV files, right? Or whatever is your feed coming from. But if you're using Quant Connect, I'm assuming that you use their feed, which
Well, I know they
which
use-
has a minute date.
I don't know how it's structured, but I know they probably will be using Interactive Brokers, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, well, the thing is that the way is like, how do you do the backtesting? So now what happens is actually with, like, if you want to do a backtesting on a minute data and you want to do 5 years of test and you just care about daily, that's an overkill because you're going through
Yeah.
millions of bars,
Yeah.
literally millions of bars that you don't care about.
Right.
Like the whole thing is you just look at open, high, low, close, and you say, okay, I have a limit order.
Yeah.
Did the low go below my limit? It went. Now you have to make some assumptions whether your price is executed at the limit or somewhere else, or you put some, drawdown or slippage or whatever. But that's fine. You're just gonna run the whole test on 1,000 bars, not
Yeah,
on
it's-
millions of bars.
At the end of the day, it's going to be like some severe limitations using those.
Well,
I
for
guess,
my
solutions.
purposes, it didn't work. That's why I kind of started writing my own libraries
No,
and stuff
exactly,
like that
yeah.
for that. So
Yeah, it's just something to consider. I think that's important coming from your perspective.
I think
and
it
your
is
experience.
actually, it's hard actually also to find. I mean, if you're planning to use those libraries outside of Quantopian web interface,
Yeah.
if you're planning to use the library as a standalone, like where are you gonna get? First of all, where are you gonna get so much data, minute data, in
Well-
order to run it properly? And the other thing is, you gotta freaking take care of this data. You
It's
gotta
too much
store
pain.
it somewhere, do some manipulations on top of it and stuff like that. So
Too much work.
exactly. So if you're down to, I mean, to me the best is like if you're gonna deal with daily data, by no means. And you had it in some previous videos, like Ernie Chan was saying to test, like what happens around the close if you're trading on the close and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, by no means. Test it for the executions, for those things, to make sure that your strategy is getting executed the way you're expecting.
Right.
But for a basic back test on daily data, you just need daily data. You don't
Right.
need minute data.
Well, it's one of those push to have people understand why they need to have their own solution or roll their own solution using something like Interactive Brokers and using their own software.
And I can tell you from my experience, it was pretty annoying. Is the same thing, kind of similar, not exactly, but a piece of software that I use quite often is NinjaTrader, and NinjaTrader has similar issue. Like if you want to do it, they handle daily bars better, much better than quantopian. But the issue with NinjaTrader is that you cannot really trade at the close of the day.
Okay.
So a very common approach for daily backtests is to assume that both you are receiving the signal at the end of the day and you are doing the actual trading of the end of the day,
Okay.
which has certain advantages. And actually, in real life, you can implement it very close to what you see in the backtests.
Okay.
But with NinjaTrader, you cannot do that because for them, when the bar finishes, the bar finishes.
Okay.
So when you get a message in your infrastructure that the bar has closed, you cannot go back and say now trade this bar. So the best that you can do is put an order for the open of the next day. And if you're dealing with 24-hour assets like Forex or futures, most of them, it's fine because the difference is very small. You have a 1 hour close and that's it after the bar. But if you're dealing with stocks or ETFs, the gaps between close and open can be significant.
Which brings me to the severe limitation of TWS is that it shuts down at around towards midnight. I mean, in this video I did around midnight.
Yeah.
The whole software shuts down. So what you're saying is, what are you going to lose towards midnight? You're not going to lose your positions, obviously.
The only thing that you're going to lose is the information on the screen, in my experience.
Okay.
So what will happen towards midnight is like, and it's pretty scary. When I saw it the first time, I almost got a heart attack.
I know.
Because you look at all your positions, and let's say you are long 5 futures. Well, right now you're $500,000 down because the P&L cannot be computed, so they assume everything was kind of closed. And when I saw that for the first time, I was like,
freaking out.
Well, I was on the message with them right away, right?
Right.
And that's what they explained to me. They said basically that they have this, it's usually a couple of minutes or even less when they need to do some resetting of their systems, and they do it after midnight, and that's the only thing. You lose the information on the screen, otherwise everything's normal.
Programmatically, I mean, are you out of trades by the end of the closing day, like New York time, or?
No, I leave them. Like
So how do you handle that scenario when your TWS is going to shut down? You just let the system reset the TWS and you bring it back up to, let's say, 12:05 or?
Well, all your settings and everything stays in TWS.
Right.
So if my orders, if I have submitted my orders, plus, okay, so there are two things here. Like my data provider, I use the daily data for CSI, from CSI Data.
Oh, yeah.
They're a pretty good provider for both futures and stocks.
And that's
on
real
daily
time
data.
you're talking about, right?
Hmm?
That's real time that you're talking about, right?
What do you mean? No.
So
CSI Data
that's
is not
just all
the real
historical.
time.
Okay.
Yeah. So what happens is around 7:30 every day, I can pull from them the latest data for the day.
Okay.
So I have everything locally up to the previous day, so now I can pull the latest data from them. So at 7:30, the futures markets and the Forex has the futures markets, they have usually this pause between 5:15 to 6 Eastern time.
Yeah.
So they have this pause of 45 minutes and then they open. And actually that's the opening for the next day.
Okay.
So they open and they don't close overnight.
Okay.
So what I do is that basically at 7:30 I get my data from CSI Data. I run my programs to generate signals and stuff like that, or the orders. I hit a button, all my orders appear here. I go submit whatever I want to submit, which means that around 7:45 I'm done until the next day basically.
Okay.
So I don't have to do anything. I monitor it during the day, but I don't have to do anything. So if I'm looking around midnight at the screen, I'll see this kind of a hiccup, but otherwise I don't even see it. I don't care about it. All the orders stay, nothing gets executed. Well, I mean, if your limits get hit or something, they might get executed. So I assume everything is going on, except that you don't have the data feed. And you need the data feed in order here to see your, when you go to the portfolio screen, to see this number, which is your P&L, right?
Yep.
If you, like, this number is gonna be off, or at least it will be off for all the instruments that you have. You said this is a demo account, right?
Yeah.
So let's say sell one of those.
You can go
Just
nuts
do
on
it
all you want.
market. So let's just sell one. So it tells you on the screen, right on the confirmation. That's kind of important for futures. Here you see the real amount that you are putting at risk actually.
Right. Okay.
Because like the future contract has a multiplier, so the price that you see is not actually what you really So that's the amount that actually goes together with one NG contract,
Right.
and this is actually your commission, and it gives you some information about the margin here and stuff like that. So you hit transmit that this is a market order, it
Right.
gets executed, you get it here, and now when you go to the portfolio, actually you can see that you have one position. So this is your position, and that's it. This will disappear very soon. Actually, that's the kind of a.
How do you find the fills? Like, have you had any problems with Interactive Brokers on any of your fills? They get filled
No,
pretty quickly?
actually, fantastic. The feels are like really good, and I mean, I have traded before. My experience was with other retail brokerages.
Well, you use
like
Questrade, right?
I use Questrade for my other accounts, and I mean, I don't want to be offensive, but they don't come even close. And I have seen some stuff that I find a little bit weird with the executions at Questrade, but I have no proof about it. But still, I like them as a brokerage. Before that, I have used other retail brokers like TD Canada here in Canada, right? And
RBC we talked about.
Yeah, RBC. I looked at it when I was deciding between Questrade and Scotia iTrade. I started with them actually a long time ago when they were E-Trade. Then Scotia iTrade bought them, and yeah.
But you like Interactive Brokers not just from the automation side, but you obviously the low commissions that they offer you.
Well, not only that, like, I mean, to be honest with you, in my experience here in North America, I haven't seen a better customer service than Interactive Brokers. So whenever I contact them or something, you get answered. I usually use chat.
And it's 24 hours as well.
24 hours. I mean, like, when I had the problem with the P&L and stuff, I kind of chatted with them at quarter after midnight, right? So they have people. It's a little bit slower overnight, especially if you're using the
Obviously.
chat. Yeah. But you know, like, I haven't had a time when I have had times when I was really annoyed and pissed off when I went on the chat, but I haven't had a time when I wasn't satisfied with what was the resolution.
I mean, I hear problems. People go on about TWS being this, and this problem, number one. And then there's also customer service is not as good, and blah, 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 blah. But so far, when I'm sitting down here in the current version of TWS, this is really powerful. Very powerful.
Well, I might be biased, but I mean, like, I would agree completely that TWS has a steep learning curve. And it takes time to get used to the way Interactive Brokers is doing things. And I'm not talking only about the TWS stuff. Even if you look at their API, it's a little bit different than what you have seen everywhere else. But I think actually that once you get used to TWS really and the API, it's probably the number one choice for retail
I think they set the standards.
Customers.
I think they set the standard. So, is there any other features within the TWS we should know about?
Well, I mean, so this is the way you put orders. Let's take another one and.
Don't mind me eating here.
No, not a problem. So this is the S&P 500 basically contract. June is actually expiring. Not expiring, but actually, if you need to roll.
And today is June 3rd.
Yeah, you need to roll it over tomorrow or 2 days later. So, but I'll just add the September one because of that. So, fictional data.
Yeah, you should know about that in the demo.
Yeah, fictional data. So let's put something else that they have non-fictional. Yeah, that's oil. I mean, there is no need for. Yeah, so you can add symbols, you can delete symbols and stuff like that. That's pretty.
And as you said, you watched 30 of them.
Yeah, but they're in separate screens. So here I'll see grains, and I have like 10 futures. Then there will be energies, and I have 6 futures and stuff like that. So, well, there is no data for oil either, right? No.
Yeah. The.
Oh, but see what I did? Like that, like I added the stock. It says CL nice. That's whatever is the stock. I didn't add the CL future.
Okay.
Because they kind of overlap, so you gotta be careful when you go quickly and select something. No, it goes to CL. Well, I guess that's a bug probably in the demo.
Well, it's probably a demo account.
Yeah. So, for the orders, again, so this screen actually is for the P&L and stuff like that. So if we go back to where we have the future, and let's say we want to close the position. So now we have a, here you can tell from the position that we have a short.
Right.
So now if you want to go long one, reverse your position, you just do a single order with a buy and it combines everything.
Okay.
And you can say, let's say, stop limit. So now you're setting two prices. You're setting the stop price. That means, so now we are talking about the buy order. So the stop price is after this price, this order will be considered for execution.
Okay.
So like if I say the stop price is 4.5, that means that until the ticker reaches 4.5, which is a dollar, it will do nothing on this thing.
Okay.
And the limit price is how much further from the stop price you want to get it executed. So usually what I do is I put like two tick differences.
Okay.
So the tick here is actually, you can see it. Okay, so when you double click on the contract, you get information about this underlying.
But it should. But again, demo count.
No, I think it's something else. Anyway, so when you double click on the contract, you get information about the underlying, and they're different, right? Because, for example, here the ticks that we see, I don't know whether it's I think for natural gas it's actually 1,000th of the point, basically is the smallest amount that you can change it. But the point being is that if you're gonna set a stop limit of price, we can do, let's say, right now it's 3.09, let's do 3.511. So
okay.
The price first needs to cross 3.511.
Okay.
And after it crosses, let's say you don't want to get really you don't want to buy if it goes above certain number. You gotta be careful what you want to do, because if you just want to exit the position, you should just put a stop price and no limit, which means when the stop gets hit, I just close it. But you can close 50 cents above.
Okay.
I mean, that usually doesn't happen with liquid contracts.
Right.
But anyway, so I usually use both the stop and so I'll do something like that, right? Oh, oops, that's wrong. Gotta be 5 here.
5, yeah.
Yeah. So that means that don't even if this price gets, if it goes above 3.511, the only executions that you're allowing are basically 3.511, 3.512, and 3.513.
Okay.
Because this is the limit price. Enter, and now you can say transmit. Okay. So now if it goes up, it will get executed. Yeah. Otherwise, it will just stay like that. Here it tells you that the order is valid for the day only.
Okay.
You can change it to good till cancel, and you can also say trigger during regular trading hours. So trigger outside regular trading hours means that the order gets triggered even outside regular trading hours, but you have less volume, so you gotta know what you're doing. If you're gonna enter a position, actually, I mean, I don't mind entering outside regular trading hours, but for sure you have to put a stop limit order. Don't put just a stop order, because on something that doesn't have a lot of volume outside the trading hours, you put let's say you say I want to buy something at $5, and you just put a stop order. Right now it's 480, so you want, when you penetrate 5, to buy.
Right.
Now you might actually end up executed at 5.5.
Do you find that a lot?
No. No, it doesn't happen often, but you can see it with some futures, because futures are bigger contracts, so the volume is even less.
Okay.
Like, I mean, compared to stocks, it's less actually. And outside trading hours, there are some contracts that you can see the price really moving a lot. And for stocks as well. Like, I mean, many ETFs, you can trade them with TWS outside the trading hours.
Okay.
So 4 is the market close, but you can put an order and get executed.
Right.
But just making sure that it's a limit or a stop limit order if it's outside the regular limit or a stop limit.
Right.
Because if you just wanna, like sell something or something like that, you can just put a limit order.
Okay. So this is pretty well your whole workflow of what you have or what you use in or do you use
well, I use some charting as well. I mean, like when you click on something like NG, here you can quickly look at charts for the
Pull it up.
for the
people like it visual.
What does it say
It's
here?
probably a default. Well, you can still go okay and just choose the default.
Yeah, let's just say, well, combined contracts is better when you look at futures because I think we'll see more history. Let's see. Ah, invalid
I
composite.
think it needs
Where is the
in
composite?
the yellow.
Yellow. Oh.
What kind of data you want?
Let's see. No, I think actually something, probably I should leave it to a single contract. Yeah. So now where is the chart?
Just probably got to hover over the IB.
Ah, okay.
No, just hover over here. Yeah, and you probably get one of those.
Yeah. I just open it in a very interesting place. It's not the case usually what happens. Huh.
Bear with us. Maybe there's 3 windows that were there. Nope.
What if we minimize this one?
Oh, there you go.
Okay. Okay, so it will show 1 week up to 1 week of fictional charting, so that's not really useful. Okay, so
Okay,
that's a chart.
yeah. But
Actually, the charting it looks primitive and stuff like that, but you can do a lot of simple indicators and things like that. So
well, the mosaic's quite good at it.
yeah, I mean, from what I hear, people say that compared to other software like NinjaTrader, multi-charts and stuff like that, it's actually not that good, but
It does the job though.
it does the job. And actually, if you look at their they call it the other study, they have actually a lot of stuff here that some of it you will not see at other places. So their charting is good, and not only that, there is the information about the contract. Somehow it's not going to the front.
Right.
So here you can see for each contract, you can see it says that it's a future contract. That's the index. That's the contract month. So it's July contract. It expires on June 26th. So for sure, on June 25th, or even much earlier, actually, you have to roll over the contract.
Right.
But that's not a big deal. So that's the multiplier that I was talking about. So we see 3 point something as a price. The value of the contract is 3 point something multiplied by 1,000. And you have the exchange and things like that. And here you have the trading hours. So, but pretty much you see here that this thing is open 24/7.
Right.
They have, as I said, like 45-minute break at around 5:15, I think, Eastern time, but that's
Okay.
it pretty much. Another thing with Interactive Brokers is what I was going to say. Not too long ago, tools, view, trading tools. Okay, so at some point, that was actually a few months ago, they added a stripped down version of multicharts.net, which you
Really?
can start from, which you can start actually from here.
Okay.
So in one of the menus, for if you want more advanced charting and stuff like that, and I
Yeah.
think actually you can even trade off their charts, but it's not the full-fledged multi-charts, but it is a pretty rich
And that
platform.
includes the software as well?
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's a stripped down version, so I mean there are limitations on the backtesting side and stuff like
course,
that that
yeah.
you can do, but you have a full-fledged multi-charts that you can do run, and basically instead of, you still have to have TWS open, but you also open multi-charts and you can do a lot of stuff from there.
So pretty well, what you just showed this, whoever's watching this video, pretty well, this is what you use within TWS, or are you using anything else?
Well, I used the Forex Trader, as I said, just to look at it, and the other thing that pops up my mind is there is something called Options Trader here. No, yeah, I have used actually the Options Trader.
Okay. Well,
So, like, I don't know how it will go well, it doesn't show the option chain, but if you open that, the underlying is NG, and you will see the entire option chain
Right, of
here
course,
with
yeah.
different things. So I have used this one, but it seems to me that they don't.
It's
It's
demo.
coming. No, it's
No,
slow.
it's-
The data
okay.
feed is slow. So you can see all the different options, because they have a different expiration day from
Right.
the contract. So you can see the different options, and you'll see bid, ask, and things like that.
okay.
So I have used this one just a few times when I traded options on
And
futures.
so you have traded options at all?
On futures, yeah.
On futures.
On
okay.
futures,
Okay.
yeah. But it's the same interface for stocks and futures.
Okay.
I just wanted to do some synthetic stuff on some of my positions, so that's why. And but what I wanted to show you is when you roll over a contract, actually in a few days, I assume we'll have to go from the NG to the August contract.
Okay.
So you can do it manually. You can. What does it mean to roll over? Right now we have a short on the July NG.
Right.
That means that you wanna close this position and go short on the August contract because the July will expire, right? So
Right.
you wanna move to the next one. So you can do it manually. You can sell when.
Just stop right there. Now, if you didn't touch that to roll over, remember we talked
Yeah.
last time. What will happen is that Interactive Brokers will close out the position because you're supposed
Good
to take
question. Yeah.
you're supposed to take delivery of that. Why don't you expand on that
Almost on all contracts, including treasury notes.
for delivery?
Yeah, almost
Okay.
all contracts that you can, all futures that you can trade through
Mhm.
Interactive Brokers. Interactive Brokers does not take a delivery, which means they will close your positions before the date that, not before the date that the contracts
When it
expires,
delivers.
but the date after which you are actually
Supposed to-
considered owning it.
Right.
Yeah.
For delivery. Right.
Exactly, because it might be a month actually ahead of the.
Is that
Sometimes
soon?
it happens, yeah.
Okay.
I think it was with the treasury notes that were something like that. But what they do is, if you have a position in one of those, they'll send you an email 2 or 3 days ahead. Even if you miss this email, they're gonna close your position. I have never been closed, but I have heard from people that have actually two different cases. If if it's a forex contract, they'll
Stop.
allow it to deliver. So you just get, you know. 100,000 euros in your account. Big
Right.
deal, because you can just with the click of a button sell them at the forex
Yeah.
exchange.
But
Right?
we can't do that with copper.
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, it will cover the whole house that you have, like with copper.
Exactly.
So what they do is actually, from what I have heard, is actually they close your position, and the time that they close your position, though they state it actually, you can find the information on the web for every single contract, and they close it during quite liquid hours, so you're getting a decent price. You're not getting screwed being sold out after, outside of the
But
trading
this is
hours.
an
or
important
something like
gotcha,
that.
so people know what to expect
Oh yeah,
when they
for
start
futures
trading.
for futures it's really important
Yeah.
because these are big contracts and yeah. So I mean, it's still best to monitor when you need to roll over and to do the rollover yourself. But I don't think you have to pull your hair out if once it happens that.
Okay. So as we were going to talk about auto rollover.
Yeah, so it's I couldn't find actually a better way to do it. There are a few ways, and this is the one that I kind of learned to do and started doing it, but for some reason it doesn't show here. Message center. I think.
You have to add more buttons, maybe. If I'm like the TWS expert.
I think it was combo code.
I mean, this software is just unbelievably long and lengthy.
Oh yeah, and the functionality that it has.
It's amazing. I mean, from a broker standpoint, it's pretty impressive.
It doesn't come. Oh, it showed the button. Okay.
Yeah. It's the
So
tricks
now I
of
believe-
TWS. Actually, it might be down here. You could probably hover over it somewhere.
Yeah, it's on the one still.
No.
Okay, so it's open.
It's an i3, so please have patience.
So here, the way I used to roll over, and you can do it at least in 2-3 different ways I find on the internet, is I use the pair or leg by leg.
Okay.
So what you do is it's used mostly for this kind of dialogue is used mostly for options traders.
Right.
But the way I use it for futures, when you say pair, it means that you kind of create a single order that trades two instruments at the same time.
So it's
That
called
kind
an
of the
arbitrage?
spread. You can that way you can trade the spread between
Okay.
two instruments.
Mhm.
So what you would do is, like, if I want to go to the July and to the August, from the July to the August, I'll put one order is obviously to sell the July.
Okay.
One order is to buy the August, and there will be a third NG that will appear here, which is the one that we created artificially
Right.
here, which says basically, NG August, July, whatever, some longer name describing it that it's something like that, and you will see it as a separate instrument over here, and you
Okay.
can trade it, and you say just buy one, and just buying one means buying the August contract and selling the July.
Okay.
So you just execute this order and you do the rollover that way.
Okay.
Right now that's one thing that I definitely want to actually automate.
Okay.
For because I do have the information from the CSI data on which dates to roll over the contracts. So, like, this is kind of a manual task which I still do, and I'd like to see it automated. Basically, at least creating those pair instruments. So you gotta dig in the API to fill the big order class
Right.
in API with the right instruments, both for the buying and for the selling. But once that's done, that's something that I really think it's useful to automate.
Okay. So if you want to cancel that,
Yeah, this one doesn't show up.
yeah, I don't know. It's probably a demo mode. Probably the system's gonna
Or
parse
some
it.
box is waiting for us somewhere, no?
No, it's cancel if you can cancel it or whatever. So, is that pretty well everything you use within TWS? Or?
Well, there are a few other things that I use, but I mean, these are the major
Main
ones, the main ones.
So you're not using like the calendar feature. I mean, it's a subscription you get on top of your Interactive Brokers. You're not using anything like that.
No. I'm using it just as an execution platform. Now, there are some really interesting things related to the account. Basically, like.
Do you want we can pause it and then just crash,
close
like
this
break. We
yeah,
can,
probably better.
We're gonna do that. Okay. Just test 1 2. This is part 2 with Ivan. So what you were just saying, Ivan, if you want to repeat what you said about order.
Well, now, usually when people deal with daily data, at least that's how I do things. I most of the times I'll run the back test assuming that I'm getting the signal at the close and I'm able to execute at the close.
Okay.
So which kind of sounds weird, I know, because how can you do both at the same time? So as a part of that, actually, there is actually I found a lot of support in the TWS platform. So first of all, like, this is EW. They have a special order type. So if we want to sell this instrument at the close today, here instead of market order we select MOC order, market on close.
Right.
Then we transmit the order, and this order will get executed at 4 p.m. when the market closes. Similarly, if you want to do a limit order, you can do limit on close.
Okay.
But these are the two types that they have. For anything more complicated, you need something else. Now, they have even something else. So, what we can submit is, so we put the order, let's say, as a market order. Market, yes. But then, oops. Okay. Then we open the order ticket. And in the order ticket, there is a conditional.
Ooh.
So now you can do whatever you want here. For example, you can say add a condition on time. So you can say execute this order basically when the time is more than oops, where are the arrow keys? Okay.
Yep.
So if you want to execute it at the close, but actually through a conditional, not through a market on close order, you can do this thing. So you're basically saying this is a market order which will get triggered 2 seconds before the close.
Okay.
I have found from my experience that 59.58 you'll get executed on the
Okay.
SPY or on some other liquid ETFs.
Right.
Now you can add another condition, and those conditions will be connected with an end. For example, you want to do trading where you're executing the signals, you're getting the signals, let's say, from some other ETFs, let's say from the SPY, but you're executing the orders on EWU, which
Okay.
is the ETF for England. So what you can do is add and say price, and we're going to put a condition on price, and you say the underlying is SPY, so we're going to put a condition on the SPY, not on the EWU.
Right.
And yeah, it's the stock, and you can say when the price is greater than whatever 100. Well, right now it's in the 200, so let's say 210.
Okay.
So now, what did we get here? Well, it hasn't shown up yet, but did it just didn't show up?
I'm not sure.
SPY method, okay, operator, okay, price 210. Okay.
Or whatever, yeah.
Or whatever. Yeah, something's not right. So here you have two conditions normally,
Okay.
and when you hit transmit,
Yep.
basically this conditional order will get transmitted.
Okay.
So you can add all kinds of conditions, and you can do, that's a conditional order, and that's what I use quite often actually when I trade ETFs to trade at the close and stuff like that.
Well, what I was going to ask you in concerns with a Canadian bank, let's say in my case, I'm with RBC.
Yeah.
You have experience with Scotia.
Yeah.
How do you find the amount of ETFs that Interactive Brokers gives you versus one of the big banks? Is it as on par or better?
Well, to be honest with you, I haven't looked at the Canadian side of the things. I only trade through Interactive Brokers US. Yeah.
And you find it as
ETFs,
vast?
they
Yeah.
have everything.
Okay.
ETFs, yes. So mutual funds, I don't know whether they even provide
But for
mutual
ETF
funds, but
it's-
for ETFs they have pretty much everything.
Okay.
So any ETF which is listed on the New York Stock Exchange and on ARCA, usually the
Right.
ETFs are listed. Any ETFs that's listed there, you will pretty much find it there.
Okay.
Now this trade log actually shows you the trades that got executed.
But
So
the question is, with this calendar, when it says all, is it just going to keep everything in the system for only the last week, or is it going to go back since day one that you've?
it actually, when you hit all here, it will just show you all the trades that are executed through those 6 or 7 days.
So it doesn't go all
That's
the way
it.
back. So that's
Yeah.
where we need to have that database in place to track all our positions and whatnot.
Now, that's a good question. I remember at some point, I don't remember the details. You can Google it. I still have it going, but I think in the global configuration, that's actually where all the stuff that you wanna set up happens. For the trading tools, you can set up actually, no, not for the trading tools orders. You can set up a log file. There is a place where you can set up a log file. So what you're saying is log my trades.
Since day one.
No, it starts from the current day with some backward window. See, Interactive
I
Brokers,
see.
they keep everything, but they keep everything only for their reporting.
Right.
I don't think you can pull this information through TWS. But if you log in into your web account, then
You have
you can
access.
you can get really detailed reports. You can get them year by year
Okay.
with P&L and everything. So you can get. They have this information. It's not that they throw
But
it
it's
away.
not through TWS.
But it's not through TWS,
Okay.
exactly. So one way to get the orders is through the API. So basically, you write your own software.
Right, and
that-
have a database. in
Exactly,
place.
and
Okay.
keep it.
Yeah.
Or the other one is you can set up a text file, whether they get saved, and they really get saved there. In all cases, you have to have TWS running. So if you don't run TWS for 2 weeks and you come back, it will just pull the orders, let's say, for the last few days, not for the last 2 weeks.
Okay.
Because they have a window that after that everything goes probably to their historic side of things. So I don't remember exactly where was that actually, but
But it's there where you can.
It's
set it
somewhere,
up.
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
It's
That's all we
somewhere.
need to know. But it's capable.
yeah, it's capable to save
Okay.
the trades.
But I just want to know if I was not going insane where I would have thought the way it looked is that you can only keep track of your last week's worth of trades.
No. Everything they save, but the thing is in different places. So here other things are like they have this bunch of presets for trading of stocks and stuff like that. You can, say what's the default order and stuff like that. So if you want to kind of do quick trading,
Right.
like quick pushing the buttons and stuff like that, like manual but higher frequency trading
Right.
than just daily or something, you can adjust many things here so the orders appear the way you
Well,
want
from a
them.
programmatic point of view, you can have up to 4 clients connecting into TWS, correct? Is that what you
I don't know what's the limitation,
there's
but
a
I
4
remember
limit.
seeing
Yeah,
that
yeah.
there is a limitation. One thing that is a little bit annoying if you keep TWS running forever, you cannot keep it. It actually has a log of timer. So every day at 10 p.m., that's what it says here,
This is log out.
it will just shut down. So one way to keep it going, that's a little bit annoying, but one way to keep it going is at 9:30 or whatever, you just go and change this number like 3 minutes earlier,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it doesn't shut down. You just continue. And that's probably the only kind of annoying thing that I can think of it.
But have you thought about using the fix option at all?
No,
Which is more of it.
no.
This is good enough for you.
Yeah,
instead of clicking through?
and actually they have a light version called Gateway,
That's what I was referring
which
to.
doesn't require. Oh, the Gateway.
Hmm.
Yeah, the Gateway actually, it's basically it gives you the API access without opening this heavy TWS.
Okay, but you don't obviously, on the other hand, get the limitations of what TWS gives you in terms of shutting down at midnight or
Yeah, I don't
logging
know
out
about the
after.
Gateway. I would assume that it doesn't shut down. I was considering actually using the Gateway when I was thinking to run the whole thing on Linux,
Right.
because then you can actually, if you figure out how to bring the Gateway or TWS, well, that's the problem with automating everything end to end, because in order to connect to Interactive Brokers, you gotta get TWS going. To get
Yeah.
TWS going, you gotta go through 3 logon screens.
Right.
Like, how the heck are you gonna automate something punching in data, and some
Right.
of the data comes from your cart, right? They give you a cart for everybody.
So walk us through that. Like you have when you go live with a new trading account, not a demo account we
Yeah.
have here. Like what are the sequences that we have to go
Well-
through to actually activate the account? Like a live one.
You basically file all the documents with them. You can do it
Once you apply,
online.
yeah.
When you apply. And then
So
I don't
you
know
want-
whether you open the account, whether they'll allow you right away or they wait for a certain amount of money to get transferred.
10K.
Yeah,
That-
10K.
Yeah, at the beginning, yeah.
But as soon as this is done, they basically send you an email.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was an email which contains a PDF.
Mhm.
And in this PDF, you have this card which has numbers on it.
Right, I've seen those, like a
Okay.
bank card.
Eh,
Well, whatever, yeah.
Well, not a
Well, an
bank
ATM card, like an ATM
No,
card.
no. Yeah, but it has numbers.
Right, so you have to manually enter in those
Exactly.
numbers?
So when you put your username and password, each time they will ask you for 2 of those numbers. So let's say they ask you for 100 and 101. You go on this card, look what 100 corresponds to, and you put it in. You look what 101 corresponds to, and you put that in.
So
And
that's
then hit
every time you boot up TWS, you
TWS,
have to do that
exactly.
for security
Yeah.
purposes. Okay, then what?
And then TWS just opens, and that's it. And you can start
So-
trading. You
so-
see your money and everything.
So you log in, then it'll ask another third verification based on your card with what you just said, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. And the same is on the web. So now there is a lot of stuff that happens actually with the account on the web. Like when you get on the account on the web, first of all you can do some primitive trading from there. Like it's much more primitive than TWS,
Right,
but
obviously.
they have a decent Java. I'm sure it's JavaScript or
Okay.
something client. So you can do the trading there, but actually all the accounting stuff is from the web.
Right.
So one way to reach that account quickly is actually here in accounts. You just go account management home.
Okay.
This will not only open the web browser, but it will also kind of transfer the logon credential, so you'll be automatically logged
Automatically
in.
just
So
pop
you
up,
don't
right,
need
right.
to input your information again.
Okay.
So here in the account actually, you can actually, here you see if you have forex positions. Here you will see, well, they don't show, but here you will see all the content of let's say for example, if you sell, I did it by mistake, as I told you a few days ago. I sold euro Japanese yen forex pair. I bought actually 50,000 euros by mistake, right? So what happens is, in terms of forex, Interactive Brokers here will show 2 currencies. Now actually you have 2 more currencies besides US dollars in your
Right.
account. You have 50,000 euros, the left part that you bought, and you are short whatever is the
Japanese
amount
yen.
corresponding to the Japanese yen, right? So when you close the position, right, when you sell the forex pair, there is some residual. So let's say you just sold back 50,000 euros, right? So now you zeroed your euro account, but because probably it moved in yens, it went up or down.
Right.
Now you have some residual of yens. And what most forex brokers, from what I understand, will do is actually they will flatten this position automatically. So they'll close it for you. Interactive Brokers doesn't do that.
Okay.
Which gives you more control over, over when and at what rates you close the positions.
Okay.
You basically can hold as many currencies in your account as you want.
Right.
So, and one thing that I read about them also about forex trading, because that's what I'm getting interested in lately, is they actually do have charges for forex trades.
How does that work?
Well, the same way when you click.
Is it like just a commission fee that you get?
Yeah, it's a commission.
Okay, and
so
that's it.
They don't charge you on the spread. Their claim is that they don't manipulate the spread at all. They give you the spread that they get from their whatever banks or whatever they're dealing with, but they have a commission fee, and their claim is that way they think it's more transparent to what you're paying.
And less manipulated as well.
Exactly.
So that's the advantage of doing the FX trading through IB versus another FX broker.
And actually the volume of FX that goes through them is probably comparable to...
Well, it said, the link you sent me, it was like over 80% of, or some crazy number, that all the trades come through IB. The volume of it, it's quite high.
So I don't know how it compares to the big forex brokers, but I'm assuming they're pretty big actually.
Yeah, I think so.
Even in the forex market. So let me think. Yeah, I think that's...
So that's pretty well it.
Yeah, that's pretty well it.
Well, I got to thank you, man, for doing this.
Oh, you're welcome.
A lot of people are going to be...
Hopefully.
No, I think so. Yeah.
Hopefully
so we'll do a meetup on it, as we discussed on it.
Okay.
Do a Q&A.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, man, for doing it. And I'm sure you'll get a lot of comments on this video over it as well. So let me shut this down. Where's my little recorder here? Yeah, I'll just press...